I'm Jonathan Campbell, and 10 years ago this month, I had kind of had enough and decided I didn't want to live anymore. I was living up here with my parents. My mother was my primary caregiver, and every 4 hours, among other things, she had to catheterize me, and I couldn't take any more of it. So I had this plan of letting my bladder fill up until my blood pressure shot up, and I'd have a stroke and die. 5 months before that, I had a life like anybody else. I was living in North Carolina. I was able-bodied, had a job, had a girlfriend, had a life, and I was into racing BMX, and I'd done that for about 20 years. And one night, August 6th, I was on my local track, just practicing, not doing anything crazy, just on a section of the track I knew really well. I lost control, and I landed on my I landed on my back, and by the time I stopped tumbling, I couldn't move my arms, I couldn't feel anything, and I knew I was paralyzed, and I was struggling to breathe, and they called 911, and they sent a medevac, and I remember as I was getting onto the helicopter thinking to myself, gosh, if I never walk again, I hope this helicopter goes down, because I can't imagine a life in a wheelchair. And I was, so I was terrified, and I felt like I was laying on a block of ice. And I remember the paramedic telling me to try to relax, to breathe. And I remember he put his hand on my shoulder, because I think he knew I couldn't feel anything below my chest. And he just told me everything was going to be okay. And I think the field that you all are going into, I think you're going to be seeing people who are at the lowest point or the worst, scariest point in their life, and if they're not there at that point, they will get there in the next couple of months. And so I think that in those situations, sometimes it's the littlest things, just telling a patient or a person that they're going to be okay, just can kind of give them some reassurance. It can make a big difference. 5 months later, there I was at my parents' house. I was living up here 4 hours away from the life I knew, the friends I had, and I didn't want to live anymore. And so my dad called 911, and the fire truck and paramedics came. And what are they going to say? They didn't have any answers. But that's not what I wanted. What they did have was compassion, and they listened, and they heard me cry about my life and the life I'd had, and that was enough to get me off the ledge. Sometimes we don't need answers. We just need reassurance that we're not alone, and that we have people that are on the trip with us, on that journey with us. I remember so many of the positive experiences I've had with doctors or therapists or EMTs, and I remember those memories and those people. Even though I may not remember their names, I remember them, and I will for the rest of my life. But the bad ones, I just lump them all together. Trust me, I've had rude EMTs, I've had bad doctors, I've had bad nurses, and in the past, and you know what, I just kind of just put them away, and I don't really think about them, but I remember specific people. And so when I think back on laying in that chopper and thinking about how I didn't want to live, or refusing treatment 5 months later because I didn't want to live, I'm glad that there was somebody there to help reassure me or get me off the ledge, because the past 10 years haven't been easy by any means, but I've managed to rebuild a life, meet amazing people, have amazing experiences, and rebuild a life that I have few complaints, and I'm actually happier today than gosh, I've been in like 15 years, and keep in mind I was injured 10 years ago, so that says something about my, I wasn't necessarily happy before I was injured. But today I'm grateful for for everything, and the perspective I've gained, and I'm especially grateful for people in the field that you all are going into, and anyone that's dedicating their lives to just helping others. And I think the best thing that you all can be is just compassionate human beings, and I think I often think back about that paramedic in that chopper when he told me everything was going to be okay, because ultimately he was right, because everything's great. So thank you again for everything that you've chosen to do with your lives and the career that you're going into.